All of you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. So let's get started. Okay. So the big question is your LinkedIn profile, your resume online? And a lot of people feel like, yes, that's what my LinkedIn profile is. But I have a different view and I want to share that with you. So let me get into the right mode here. So you're only seeing one slide. There we go. And I will, let's see if I can hide the floating panels. And okay, here we go.
Perfect.
All righty then. Let's see. And I think I can hide that. Very good. All right, and let's advance. So here's the good news for all of us who are 50 and better. We live in an economy that values expertise over experience. Now, this is the big people of our demographic are always trying to sell their experience, and you need to understand that that's not what the market wants. They don't really care about your experience, and we know this because people who have a lot less experience than us are getting jobs ahead of us. What they're really interested in is your expertise, and the good news is you have it. You have it in spades, but you need to market it. Market it. I say if if your LinkedIn profile begins with 15 plus years of professional experience or 35 plus years of professional experience, all you've told me is you're old and you worked. And that's not a compelling reason to hire you. So you really need to focus on the expertise that you bring, not just that you worked, but what did you do to make the organization better, right? Your next employer only wants to know WIIFM, what's in it for me, right? What do they get? You get salary and benefits. What do they get out of paying you salary and benefits? What's in it for them? And unlike your resume, which is all about your previous employers, it's backward looking. It's essentially just a list of what you've done for your previous employers. Your LinkedIn profile is all about what you can do for your next employer. You're speaking to your next potential employer and saying, hey, this is what I can do for you if you bring me on your team. Okay. So remember, your LinkedIn, your resume is focused on the past. Your LinkedIn profile is focused on the future. All right. So the biggest misperceptions about LinkedIn is that it is just your resume and photo, right? Or that all you have to do is create the perfect LinkedIn profile with all the magic keywords and recruiters are going to be knocking down your door. And this is why my LinkedIn skeptics say, well, I put up a profile and like nothing happened. And it's like, well, yeah, nothing happened because there are a billion with a B LinkedIn profiles. So just having a profile is literally just throwing a drop in the ocean, right? And the other perception is that it's only about employers finding and connecting with you, when in fact, LinkedIn is a database. It's a huge database, a global database at your fingertips where you can find people. And that is the biggest value of LinkedIn. It's not who finds you, but who you can find. All right, so resume versus LinkedIn profile. Again, this misperception that your LinkedIn profile is just your resume and a photo. So I want to talk about the differences between resumes versus LinkedIn profiles. Your resume is essentially backward looking and a list of what you've done for your previous employers. Your LinkedIn profile is forward facing. Again, what you can do, you're talking about what you can do for your next employer, and it's focused on the skills you're offering to them, the skills and expertise, what you are a subject matter expert in, what you do better than anyone else, your superpower, your secret sauce, right? That's what you are putting on your LinkedIn profile. Resumes are filled with these vague phrases like results oriented and mission driven and demonstrated history of, all of which I've never known any recruiter to type into the search box when they're looking for someone. And your LinkedIn profile should be filled instead with searchable specifics. Think like a recruiter, think like a hiring manager. If they were trying to find someone with your skill set, they're not going to type in mission driven. They're going to type in PeopleSoft because I need somebody who knows how to do PeopleSoft or Adobe Photoshop or to do strategic planning or to do organizational development or change management. Those are the kinds of words, specifics. And the way you can figure out what those specifics need to be is the job announcements. What keywords, key phrases, key software packages are you seeing over and over again in the announcements for the positions that you're looking for? And you need to put those onto your LinkedIn profile. And if you don't have those, that's a good indication that that's an area you need to build up, maybe by getting a certificate in it. But you really need to think very specifically about what a hiring manager or talent management person or talent recruiter would be putting in that search box. And it's not going to be mission-driven, detail-oriented, results-focused. It's going to be the specific skills that they're looking for. Also, resumes are focused on job titles because you're trying to show a progression of increased responsibility. But LinkedIn profiles, the focus is on skills and expertise that you bring to your next employer, not just what you've done for your previous employers, because job titles don't give enough information. You know, just saying program manager. Did you manage 3 people or 300 people? Was your budget $40,000 or $40 million? Did you coordinate 3 agencies or 300 agencies? Just saying program director doesn't give me enough information to know the breadth and scope and depth of your work. So titles are not sufficient. Now, you can certainly include a title to indicate your level, but you need to also indicate, you know, with quantifiable specifics, you know, the level so that I as a recruiter can understand, or I as a hiring manager can understand that you can do the job that we're trying to fill. All right. The other thing is resumes are in third person. You never say I, you never say me. Whereas LinkedIn profile should be in the first person because you are telling your professional story in your own words. So we're beginning to get a sense of who you are as a person, the authentic person that I'm going to meet in a Zoom call or in a face-to-face interview. I'm beginning to get a sense of that from your LinkedIn profile. And you want to leave the vague superlatives like innovative, creative, energetic, enthusiastic, all of that stuff. Leave that to your recommenders. Let them talk about how innovative, creative, enthusiastic you are, energetic you are, right? You just give me the specifics, give me the facts, and let me conclude that that is impressive rather than you saying I'm impressive, right? I'm a visionary, okay? You give me an example, give me examples of you being a visionary and let me conclude that rather than you telling me, okay? And then we know who wrote this. A publicist didn't write this, you wrote this. So again, that's another reason. And people say, oh, well, I don't want to brag. It's not bragging if it's a fact. Either you managed 7 people or you didn't. Either you had a budget of $50 million or you didn't, right? You produced 7 publications in a 6-month period of time or you didn't. That's not bragging, that's a fact, okay? All right. So your LinkedIn headline is really the most important thing to get right. It is really the most important 220 characters on your LinkedIn profile because it literally follows you all over LinkedIn. If you come up in a search, all I'm going to see is your headshot, your name, and your headline and location. So that headline, that 220 characters, is going to either make me want to come to your profile and find out more about you or not. So I consider your LinkedIn headline like your 30-second elevator pitch, right? Because it's limited to 220 characters, and that includes punctuation and spacing. So it's not 220 words, it's 220 characters, right? And it should really focus on the 2 to 4 skills you offer to any employer, regardless of the job title. What do you bring to the table? Is it strategic planning, strategic thinking? Is it fiscal management? Is it team leadership? What are the skills that you bring? No matter what title you give me, this is what I'm going to be able to bring to the table. And that's why your LinkedIn profile isn't changed for every job you apply for the way you do with a resume, because these are the skills you bring to any employer. You tailor your resume, of course, for a specific position that you're applying for, but you don't redo your LinkedIn resume because of that. So if your LinkedIn profile isn't your resume online, then what is it, right? Your LinkedIn profile is your online value proposition that intrigues and engages the viewer enough that they want to request your resume. Because often this is our digital first impression. If someone Googles you, what usually comes up first is the link to your LinkedIn profile. And so this is what I know about you. And based on that, am I intrigued enough and do I have enough information where I say, you know what, I should reach out to this person for this position. I think they might be a good candidate. All right, so your resume on LinkedIn. In settings and privacy, you can, in the data privacy tab, you can upload your resume. But you can also indicate whether LinkedIn shares your profile when you apply for a job, or signals your interest to recruiters at companies you've created job alerts for, and store job applicant accounts. So all of this is in the data privacy tab in settings and profile on LinkedIn. But people often ask me, can I upload my resume? Yes, you can. This is where you can do it by going to settings and privacy, going into data privacy, and it says job seeking preferences as one of the categories. And this is where you would upload your resume. All right. So you can also on LinkedIn, this is where I was saying you can upload your resume. So if you go to this and then you click on the job seeking preferences and job application settings, this is what comes up. Okay. And this is where you can move the radio button left or right to turn it on or off. Right. So if you turn it on, then you can share your resume data with recruiters and upload your resume, okay? But this is only if you turn the top radio button to on. If you turn it to off, it looks like this. You don't get the opportunity to upload your resume if you turn it off, okay? So this is on, and this is off. And this is in settings and privacy. All right, so why a headline with just your title is not sufficient? Titles are not universal, right? A program manager in some areas might be higher than a project manager or vice versa. A communication specialist could be a mid-level position in one industry, but be the receptionist in another industry. So just a title isn't sufficient in terms of me understanding what it is you do. It doesn't communicate the breadth, depth, or scope of your expertise. Also, for example, if your headline simply says director, again, were you supervising 10 people or 100? I don't know, and I don't have to give you the benefit of the doubt because I have so many candidates applying. I can just go for the candidate who gives me that information and discard the ones that don't, right? You want to make their job easier. You want to answer the questions that they're asking. You want to answer them for them so that they know. Right? Was your budget 40,000 or 40 million? The viewer is not going to spend time trying to figure that out. You need to answer those questions right off the top so that they get a sense of, okay, this person can do the job. All right. And if you're not a perfect fit for the job they're trying to fill now, because they know that information about you, they will sort of keep you in their Rolodex, in their system, because when that perfect opportunity does come, they know they have a candidate for it. So you're not really, people say, oh yeah, but I'm ruling myself out. No, you're not. You're keeping yourself in the game because now I have the information that I need to know when you are a perfect fit, even if you're not the perfect fit for the one I'm looking for right now. Your LinkedIn profile has become the bridge between the resume and the interview. You should assume before you do an interview that the person conducting the interview has seen your LinkedIn profile. Either the HR person or the line manager, somebody has Googled you, somebody has gone to LinkedIn looking for you. You should assume that they have seen your LinkedIn profile when you walk into the interview, because the HR manager is looking for more information about you to make a decision about whether to bring you in or not. And so they will go to the LinkedIn profile. And I've spoken with hiring managers who said, I have the resume, I'm looking for more information. If they don't have a LinkedIn profile, that raises red flags for me. Maybe they're not a serious candidate. Or particularly for those of us who are older, maybe they don't know technology. Maybe they have low tech skills because they don't have a LinkedIn profile. Okay. So that can be disqualifying. So you should have a LinkedIn profile, and you should have a complete LinkedIn profile. An incomplete profile sends the message, again, that you're not serious, or maybe that you don't complete what you start. So, or maybe again, that you're not tech savvy. All of these are messages you do not want to send, especially as a 50 and better job seeker. Okay. So use your LinkedIn profile to fill in the blanks in ways that your resume cannot. So your headshot enables you to become a person, right? With a face and a smile. Two sheets of paper can't do that. You're not, there's no photo on your resume. But this is an opportunity for them to see who their colleague would be, right? Because employers hire people, they hire colleagues, they hire team members. They don't hire people, two pieces of paper. They're hiring a person. So your LinkedIn profile allows you to become a person, right? With a face, right? And you want that to be a smiling face, a pleasant face, because nobody wants to work with grumpy people, right? And no, you should not dye your hair. Your hair color is your hair color, and you don't want to work for a company that makes hiring decisions based on hair color, okay? That's not a company you want to work for, right? Because, somebody comes with green hair, yesterday and purple hair tomorrow, do they get fired because their hair color? So again, you have to be authentic to who you really are. And if you choose to dye your hair, fine, but there is no need to do so just because you're a job seeker. You are who you are. And what's most important is your skill set. But you have to make it most important. Again, if you're talking about your experience all the time instead of your expertise, you're making your years important, when in fact, what's most important is your expertise. All right. You can add an audio recording. It's just 10 seconds. And if you have an unusual name or a hard to pronounce name, I recommend doing the audio recording. This will help allay the fears of someone. People are very conscious about mangling someone's name. So if they have an opportunity to go somewhere where they can hear you pronounce your name, you have helped allay some of their fears. And that shows that you're a considerate person, that you're using opportunities to make it easier for the viewer to reach out to you because they're not fearing mangling your name. And it also enables them to hear your voice, which again helps make you a person, right? And mine even includes a very brief greeting that says, welcome to my LinkedIn, hi, I'm Dr. Elise Barnes, welcome to my LinkedIn page. Again, you can do that in 10 seconds, right? But it helps humanize you, because human beings are not two pieces of paper. We're people, we have faces, we have voices, and this allows you to bring that, to begin to become a person, not two pieces of paper that are easily discarded. Again, you can't do that with a resume. Your headline, the most 220 characters on your profile. It's your LinkedIn profile's 30-second elevator pitch. And it literally follows you all over LinkedIn because it is included in the thumbnail that comes up in a search along with your headshot name and location. And it tells the viewers what skills you're bringing to the table and where you want to take them, or who or how you help. So you can either talk about, working in a particular industry, working with a particular group, bringing a particular set of skills to help a particular group or a particular issue. This is your opportunity to talk about what you're bringing to the table and where you want to take these skills. And then your about section. It can also serve as a writing sample in the sense that people are, again, hearing your voice as you write, your written voice, as you fill in your about section. It also, the purpose of it is to really validate and provide context and reinforcement to the skills you introduce in your headline. So whatever skills you're talking about in your headline, you want to talk about those same skills and how you develop those skills and the depth of those skills and the scope of those skills, bringing all that information into the about section so that I understand how you got the skills that you claim you have in your headline so that they work together. There should be a through line from the top of your LinkedIn profile to the bottom of your LinkedIn profile that I am seeing a technical editor, a technical editor, a technical editor with the skills of a technical editor, or whatever position, you know, a customer service person or a human resource person in the tech industry or in the healthcare industry. So if I'm seeing a communication specialist in the tech care industry, in the healthcare industry in your headline, then I should be seeing that same message throughout every section of your profile. You should not be introducing other things because that confuses the viewer, but it also confuses the LinkedIn algorithm. And that's why, I hear people saying, well, it's not sending me the right type of jobs. And it's like, well, because the algorithm is confused about who you are, because you have too many things. You need to figure out what industry, what lane, at least one of the two. What lane you feel, I'm an accountant, I'm an HR specialist, what industry, I'm in the hotel industry, I'm in hospitality, I'm in healthcare. You have to have at least one of those so that the viewer can, within a very few seconds, understand who you are and what you bring to the table. And the algorithm, you're educating the algorithm about what types of people you might like to do informational interviews with. So it's suggesting the right types of people in the right industry to you, but also the algorithm is sending you the right types of jobs. And then you can also use posts and groups to demonstrate your subject matter expertise in a way that you cannot do, again, with a resume. So what you post about, what groups you join, tell me again, oh, this is a person in this community. This is where they work. They're environmentalist, right? And by posting, you can show me what you know about the environment. The groups you join, oh, they're in the conservation group. That's their area of the environment, okay? So whatever field you're in, you wanna join the groups around those fields. And there's groups on LinkedIn for everything, every possible thing you can imagine, there are groups. And then your posts, because you're aligning yourself with a particular community or a particular lane, and you're demonstrating your passion, right? So again, I post about career development because that is my passion, that is my work, that is my field. And so when people see my LinkedIn post, they know what it's going to be about. They know Elise is about LinkedIn, she's about helping people who are 50 and better. It's very clear, right? And that's what you want to be successful on social media. It needs to be very clear what your lane is, who your community is. And then having skill endorsements, people endorsing you for your skills or writing recommendation for you. All of these are indicating your reputation in the community, what people are saying about you, writing about you, how they're endorsing you. All of those things matter to reinforce your credibility within your industry. So having those recommendations, again, people can see these LinkedIn recommendations whenever they want. Whereas with your resume, they only get the recommendations after, maybe you've become a semifinalist or you're far down the pike and they say, okay, well, now we'd like references. With your LinkedIn profile, they're right there. They can get them all the time, anytime. And it might be the thing that gets you out of just the pile of resumes, but into that interview, because they've seen very strong recommendations written for you on LinkedIn. Again, this is an opportunity to communicate in ways that you can't do on your resume. Having these recommendations on your LinkedIn profile is giving them information that they don't have that can help get you over the finish line, get you into that interview. It's all about getting into the interview so they meet you as a person. And then your numbers of connection is important because this is an indication of your social capital, the people that you know, the community that you're a part of. And this is especially if it includes numerous mutual connections with the viewer. So again, I'm comforted. Employers are trying to minimize their risk. The perception is that there's more risk with unknowns and less risk with knowns. So if I look at your profile and I see that we have lots of mutual connections, I feel like, oh, okay, I know people that know this person. So this person is clearly involved in this community. All right, I'm feeling like, okay, this is less an unknown and more of a known person. And this is particularly important in sales or marketing or community outreach or community development, like public health professions or board service. They want people that have broad, vast, big networks. Because again, I question whether you can do sales and marketing if you only are connected to 10 people. Or how much public outreach you could do if you only have 10 connections. But if you have 5,000 connections, I'm thinking, yeah, they probably pretty good at community outreach. They certainly would know someone, right? So again, it's just an indication of how well embedded in your community you are. The bottom line is, if you thought your LinkedIn profile was just your resume and a photo, you missed the point. It is an opportunity to fill in the blanks, to add more color to this picture of who you are professionally. It provides important additional information beyond your resume, and it enables you to become a potential colleague rather than just two pieces of paper. All right, that is my presentation.
Wonderful. We have questions.
Okay.
Elise, just quickly, when you say that the LinkedIn profile, your LinkedIn, it should be, kind of looking forward as opposed to your resume. Could you just go back and just explain that?
Yes. So again,
or forward thinking.
Right, forward thinking, thinking about communicating to your next employer what you can bring to them. Again, your resume is about what you did for your previous employers. I helped them do this, I helped them do that, we accomplished this. Your LinkedIn profile is about, if you hire me, these are the challenges I can solve. These are the problems, this is where the industry I work in, and this is what I want to help you do. You're talking to them about what you want to do for them. Right.
So it's kind of like more active work. It's supporting, yeah, exactly what you could do for them. It's more of an active thing, like not what I did, but this is what I can do.
This is what I can do. This is what I want to do. This is what I will do for you if you hire me. Not what I did for them when they hired me. No, this is what I can do for you if you hire me.
Exactly. Someone asked, do you recommend that we make our resume available on LinkedIn? If we are tweaking our resume for specific jobs, it seems as if it is best not to make one available on LinkedIn.
Yeah, so that's the thing. You want to tailor your resume for each position based on the job announcement. So, if you don't want to keep uploading resumes to LinkedIn over and over again. So I would be very careful with that, because again, that gives them an opportunity, the potential employer, to look at a resume that hasn't been tweaked to match their specific requirements. So I'm not a big fan of using that, because you want them to see the resume, the specific resume that addresses what they want for their particular job, to tailor it. You want to be very intentional about what resume they see. And that would be the one that you've tweaked, not just the generic one that happens to be sitting on LinkedIn.
Yes. Great answer. Should we update our LinkedIn URL to a simpler one than the default? It is okay.
Yes.
Is it okay to do so after we've already shared it?
Yes. Yes, you can. I encourage you to do that. Because you could put it in the header on your resume and it just looks nicer and neater and cleaner. You can also put it on personal business cards. You can also put it in the signature line of your email. So yes, I recommend going to the shorter, cleaner, that, removes those meaningless numbers. It will still function. It will still work. Your shorter version will still take them to the correct one, even after you shorten it. So now it
Okay.
won't let you shorten it if your name is Rhonda Smith and the other Rhonda, one of the other Rhonda Smiths has claimed Rhonda Smith. So you'll have to add a middle initial or something, just a shorter number, but don't pick a number that sounds like the year you graduated from college or high school or the year you were born.
Wonderful. Let's see if this is okay. Someone said, I found that if I have a lot of connections and they're not necessarily in my field, then my feed is cluttered with subject matter in the industries where I don't work or have connections. I also feel that the opportunities that show up in my feeds are related to my connections. Having said that, wouldn't it be better to carefully select who you connect with so you have more connections in your field of interest, and the analytics will send you more information and show you to recruiters in your field?
Yeah, so here's my my philosophy on that. More is always better because you never know who people are connected to.
Hmm.
Again, I tell people, Oprah Winfrey might have been my college roommate. You don't know, right? You just never know who people are married to, where their kids work. So we too narrowly think of where our opportunities are going to come from. And it can, come from somebody that you're sitting next to watching your kids play soccer or grandkids play soccer. So um, I the main thing though is you have to educate the algorithm based on what you do in terms of your posts, in terms of your skill set, the groups you join. Those things are more determinative than where your connections are. It's what is on your profile itself. So
Got
again,
it.
focusing on what we can control is the biggest issue, right? And what you can control is what you post about, what groups you join, what skills you have, what your recommenders say about you. And so, for example, with getting recommendations, I recommend that you send them bullet points or write the first draft and give them permission to make it their own. And so that you make sure that they're talking about the skills that you are promoting to your next employer and they're not kind of off topic. So that through line that I talk about from the top of your profile to the bottom of your profile, you can control that, and that will feed the algorithm much more than who you're connected to in other industries.
Sure. This is an interesting question, talking about transitioning. I
Mm.
want to transition from training. I taught at the college level and created training programs in my previous job. Then they want to transition to hospitality. I suspect I
Mm.
have to start as a front desk agent. How do I prevent appearing like I'm taking a lower level position? This is going to impact, like, I guess, on your LinkedIn profile. Like, how can you, if you are transitioning from one career to another, and it's not where you really have, you're using transferable skills, but it's not really where you had the experience, like in this instance, hospitality. How do you reflect that on your LinkedIn page?
Yeah, so the example I love to use in my LinkedIn training is my friend Carla, who went from 30 years working in banking to becoming a commercial interior designer. Now, I mean, she worked at a bank for 30 years and she was laid off, and she always wanted to pursue interior design. And so she went and got an associate's degree in interior design. And while she was in her associate's degree program, so she's building up her skill set, right? And here's the nice thing is, in this day and age, you don't have to go back to get a 4-year degree to transition to something. You can do a certificate program or an associate's degree program in 2 years, certificate program in even less, but it gives you the skill set you need. And certificate programs are highly prized these days because best practices are changing so fast because of it, the industry, within the industry, things are changing so fast that doing a 4-year degree, by the time you get to the end of it, you're taking the slow road, things have changed. So certificates mean, I know the latest and greatest. And you can knock it out relatively inexpensively and relatively quickly. But you want to start building up the skill set within the hotel industry. Was that the industry, hotels?
Hospitality.
Hospitality. Within the
Hmm.
hospitality industry, you want to figure out what's the most prized skill set in that industry and make sure that you have it. Start with what I call YouTube U. Start watching YouTube videos, right? And there are YouTube videos on everything. Then invest in, maybe some online courses that may be free. And then some online courses that you may have to pay for from, the top-notch schools, but do your research on what's the best, where is the industry moving, the hospitality industry, what skill set are they looking for? Do I have that? What software are they looking for? You can use the LinkedIn search box to find people who work in the industry and do informational interviews with them and say, if you were starting in the industry now, if you were starting all over again, what would you get a certificate in? And pursue that so that you can begin to feed the algorithm with the fact that you are an aspiring hospitality, whatever. So that with the, again, back to Carla, who was in banking, we reduced her 30 years of banking into one sentence in her experience section because we had to account for the time. Where has she been? She didn't spring up like a mushroom in 2016, right? But everything else on her profile reflected an interior designer. What she had is the banner image behind her head, what skills she had, and people who were her classmates endorsed her for those skills. Um, her professors wrote recommendations for her, and the places that she did internships wrote recommendations for her. The groups that she joined were groups in the interior design field. In your case, it would be hospitality groups, so that you can begin to build a network of people. Go to online events and meet more people, because generally you have the same interests if you're attending that event, right? So you can begin to become a part of the hospitality community so that you will become known to them. And you can attend online events, in-person events,
Hmm.
follow companies in the hospitality industry. So everywhere I look, I'm seeing hospitality, hospitality, not
Hmm. Hmm.
what you were before.
Great. Someone asked, in the audio recording, is it recommended to summarize headline information?
Again, it's very short. It's like 10
Mhm.
seconds. So, I mean, you don't want to sound rushed. You don't want to, you want to pronounce your name, because one of the things we do is rush past our name because we're so used to
Mhm.
hearing our names. But for other people who are hearing our names for the first time, you want to, slow down a little bit, especially also if you have an accent. You really want to slow down
Mhm.
so that people understand how to, so again, whatever you can do in a measured pace within that 10 seconds, that you don't
Perfect.
sound rushed.
Okay. Someone said, I'm concerned about making a post that is perceived negatively by a potential employer. How does one remain neutral?
Well, LinkedIn is, LinkedIn culture is we're not trying to be X or Twitter or anything like that. So stay away from religion and politics. Talk about your area of expertise. What do you know about something? And again, whether something is, political or provocative or not. And you just want to stay away from that. What is general useful information for your network? It can be a really good article that you found that was thought provoking. It could be a webinar that you attended that was very good. It can be a conference, and you can talk about, what you learned and what the speakers had to say. So you can share general information that is good. Curating information is very valuable because there's a lot of crappy information out there. So you can help position yourself as a subject matter expert by saying, this is what I attended that is good. This is what I've seen that is good. This is what I've done that was really helpful for me, what I read that was really helpful. And people will appreciate that because you're steering them to what is good, and they don't have to spend time on what is bad. But again, that's a value to your network, but also helps position you as a subject matter expert. But stay away
Okay.
from controversial stuff.
At least we're towards the end, but there are a couple really good questions, and then if you can jump into chat to answer
Okay.
any. We're getting through most of them. Someone said this is a powerful presentation. When I was not on the employment market, I received offers. Question: are employers actively searching for potential employees through LinkedIn?
Yes, they're taught to use LinkedIn. They have classes on how to
Recruiters,
find people
yep.
using LinkedIn. So they pay lots of money for
Hmm.
the LinkedIn recruiter product. So yeah, they're using it because they're paying lots of money for it. And again, they're just trying to information gather to reduce their risk. So any information they can find, they're going to use. And any place, any source of that information, they're going to use.
Excellent. LinkedIn often offers connections I don't know personally or who do not know me. But what is the value of connecting with them? Just to have more connections? It seems a bit risky.
Well, again, you never know who people know. And again, we assume that we know who can and will help us, but it's so easy to help people and it helps. Don't you get a good feeling when you help someone, right? So give them the opportunity to have that good feeling. And it doesn't have to be someone who knows, your middle daughter's middle name. I mean, it's so easy to just forward an email. I don't have to lick a stamp. I don't have to play telephone tag. People are much more willing to help you than you think. And you don't know. You're like, oh my gosh, I've been sitting next to you in church for years and I never knew you did that. Or I'm just in a book club with this person and I didn't know their daughter worked there. So again, you assume you know who can and will help you, and your assumption is often wrong. There are more people who can and will help you than you think.
Excellent. Do you put those certificates and training on LinkedIn? Like certificates that you have
Yes,
or
yes.
training? Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially if it's relevant, especially if it's helping position you so that so your profile indicates that you're qualified for a particular position.
Okay. And the last question is, I'm not sure if I think this was for you. I've got decades of IT management experience, got laid off in my 60s, now just as they're 60. Now just want employment to get by for a few years, not sure how to target and not look overqualified. So they're not sure
Okay.
on the
Well, again, I just want to work for a few years. That's not the kind of thing employers want to hear. Oh, I'm just looking for my pre-retirement job. So I would not, indicate that, I'm only just looking to work a couple more years, right?
good.
Um, so don't focus on the how long, focus on how well. That's the big issue. How good are you at what you do? And you just want to bring that expertise for however long, because nobody knows how long anybody's going to stay. The young
Exactly.
people, they get married or get another opportunity and they're out the door within a year or 2 years anyway, or they didn't get a promotion and they're upset about it and they're going to go someplace where they can get a promotion. So length of time, nobody really knows. Everybody can say 5 years, but the truth of the matter is if you get a better opportunity, you're gone. So don't focus on time, focus on expertise.
Wonderful, Elise. Well, we thank you. You were fabulous as always. If you guys liked a little bit what you saw today, Elise is the Career Gateway facilitator, and you will get 5 fabulous days with Elise. So you will have Elise in your head if you participate in the Career Gateway, as she always says. Um, anyway, but this was great information. Elise, would you mind jumping in chat if people have some questions with you? Okay.
Sure.
So Elise, just if you have questions directly for Elise and about LinkedIn, just address them directly to Elise. She